All right, welcome to my Berlin Embassy briefing. My role and goals for improving the U.S.-German relations. My role consists as Minister Consular for Consular Affairs. I am responsible for American citizens living and visiting Germany, the issue of non-immigrant and immigrant visas to the United States, working with the German government on reciprocal treatment of United States citizens for their visas, and United States citizens' rights within Germany. My three priorities for improving the U.S.-German relationship consist of the following: providing support of the refugees seeking to immigrate to the U.S. from Germany, and since considering the recent immigration proposal and changes happening to the German immigration policy in 2024, this would affect refugees entering Germany with the goal of immigrating to the United States. With my consular officers, we would identify and begin to plan/establish new policies and regulations to best support and help those wishing to immigrate to the United States. By supporting those refugees that are wishing to immigrate to the United States, it would aid in alleviating the refugee crisis in Germany by lowering the number of refugees currently in the country. The second priority is have the Undersecretary visit key stakeholders in Berlin, Frankfurt, Düsseldorf, Hamburg, Leipzig, and Munich. This is to bring a deeper understanding on the current top priorities and to explain to individuals living in Germany about the U.S.-German relations. During the Undersecretary's visit, I encouraged them to coordinate with the internal political officers and to meet with the foreign minister of the Green Party and senior officials in the SPD and FPD to discuss top priority issues such as the refugee crisis, human rights, and immigration between the U.S. and Germany. My third priority is to gain an understanding of the treatment of and inclusion of U.S. citizen refugees from Ukraine and Syria that are now residing in Germany. This would also include those refugees that are looking to immigrate to the United States as well. In doing so, I will have my consular officers interview multiple U.S. citizen refugees from different backgrounds and locations, including those wanting to immigrate to the United States. These interviews will concern the treatment and inclusion that the refugees are currently receiving, which would allow us to learn if the refugees are being given proper treatment and care. We have the goal to support all U.S. citizens and those looking to immigrate into the U.S., which also includes us advocating for fair treatment and human rights protections while in Germany. In terms of the breaking crisis of the hostage situation of U.S. citizens, 5 U.S. citizens are being held hostage by Islamic State terrorists in Hamburg and Frankfurt. These families of the hostages are calling the ambassador, and the members of Congress from the families' districts are also calling the embassy. The terrorists are communicating and want $10 million per hostage, or they will kill them with a deadline of 48 hours. My proposed plans, as well as the times and needed cooperation between the United States and Germany, are as follows. The first one involves negotiation. In terms of having negotiations occur over teleconference or phone between the Gemeinsamkeitsministerium und Abwehrzentrum, in terms of the BND, BKA, GETZ, and CTG, the Minister of Interior, the Director General OS of Public Security, and the Director General KM of Crisis Management and Civil Protection, the ambassadors from U.S. Embassy Berlin, the U.S. Consulate General Hamburg, and U.S. Consulate General Frankfurt, the Office of Special Presidential Envoy for Hostage Affairs, the FBI Critical Incident Response Group. We will determine if money is their only goal/motivation, and also considering negotiating different monetary amounts or other means such as goods, statements, hostage exchanges, etc. Be prepared for terrorists who reject negotiations and possibly shorten the time frame. Have the FBI hostage rescue team on standby if the situation starts to deteriorate. This is the most time costly of the plans, but the most effective in a safe return of the hostages and upholding U.S. interest when it comes to dealing with the terrorists. Immediate rescue of the hostages. Quick and safely as possible, the FBI hostage rescue team needs to be sent in along with the local German police task force to rescue the hostages. Collaboration from the Gemeinsamkeitsministerium und Abwehrzentrum and the Minister of Interior, the Director General of Public Security, the FBI Hostage Recovery Fusion Cell, the Secretary of State, the Office of the Special Presidential Envoy for Hostage Affairs, the National Security Advisor, the U.S. President, and the German Chancellor will be needed to carry out this task. This will be an effective and quick decision, but the most dangerous for the hostages and rescue personnel if terrorists discover the plan beforehand. Therefore, utmost secrecy and communications control are needed and essential. The third plan involves complying with the terrorists in terms of paying the monetary ransom in exchange for the hostages. This will involve cooperation with the Department of Treasury's Office of Foreign Assets Control, the Secretary of State, the U.S. President, and the German Chancellor, the State Department Bureau of Consular Affairs, the House Foreign Affairs Committee, as well as the Senate Foreign Relations Committee. This plan will be an effective and quick decision, but it also shows that the U.S. is willing to comply with terrorist threats without seeking alternatives, which does undermine the U.S. standpoint on not standing for any measure of terrorism or threat towards U.S. citizens. The fourth plan is to use means of pressure in terms of sanctions and restrictions on the terrorists and their affiliates, and demand the release of hostages, otherwise extreme measures will be taken. Be warned that the terrorists could hurt hostages and become violent in order to assert control during the situation, as this is the most risk-induced measure of plan, and while not perfect, it has a very small chance of actually succeeding. In terms of the ambassador how the ambassador should respond to the families, Congress members, and the press, ambassador should keep Congress members up to date and coordinate with the Office of American Citizen Services and crisis management and the family engagement team in doing so, and providing them necessary information such as progress, current situation, any changes, status reports, etc. Also, inform families that the U.S. government and the government of Germany is doing everything in their power to help. You can direct families to their congressional representatives and or the family engagement team for regular updates if they request them. In terms of the general press and media, please respond with general specifics regarding the efforts of our organizations, and be sure to reinforce the safety of U.S. citizens as a priority, as well as encourage the public to reach out to their embassies and consulates, to the public affairs officers and consular officers if they have any additional information that would be helpful. Additional security measures that need to be in place in these areas to protect U.S. citizens in Germany. And in the areas of Hamburg and Frankfurt, we need to issue a security alert for U.S. citizens residing and visiting Germany involving the increased risk due to terrorism. Also to inform the public of the emergency service numbers for the U.S. Embassy Berlin, the U.S. Consulate General Frankfurt, and the U.S. Consulate General Hamburg, as well as the U.S. Department of State Consular Affairs Office. Goal is to prioritize the safety of U.S. citizens and their families in Germany. And by doing so, we should also include increased police and security officer presence in the areas of Hamburg and Frankfurt. All of our recommendations, I encourage going forward with the first plan recommended of negotiation due to its highest chance of success and the best chance for hostages to be returned safe and unharmed during the process. Although this plan is the most time costly out of all of them, there is the backup of sending in the FBI hostage rescue team, as they will be on standby if we do come to a point where we're running out of time. The utmost priority in all of this is to protect U.S. citizens during this time, which does include the hostages and the families and U.S. citizens residing in the surrounding areas. And the responses that are recommended to the ambassador to present towards the families, Congress members, and press, as well as additional security measures, should all take the priority of protecting U.S. citizens into the account. This is my briefing. Thank you.